I'm Amelia, HR manager at this tech company. Finally convinced upper management to eliminate our archaic and oppressive dress code policy. Told them how professional attire standards disproportionately burden women with expensive wardrobe requirements. Explained how ties are literally symbols of patriarchal control around men's necks. Got them to agree that professional appearance is subjective and discriminatory. Feeling absolutely triumphant as I draft the company-wide email. Spend 3 hours crafting the perfect announcement. After careful consideration of equity and inclusion principles, we are eliminating all dress code requirements. Employees should feel empowered to express their authentic selves through clothing choices. This progressive step ensures no one faces appearance-based discrimination. Hit send. Feeling like I just struck a major blow against corporate patriarchy. Already imagining the praise I'll get from other women in the office. First day of new policy arrives. Walk into office wearing my usual blazer and slacks because I'm setting a professional example. Notice something immediately feels off in the main workspace. See Theo from accounting wearing bright red basketball shorts and flip-flops. Think it's probably just a one-off situation. Maybe he had a laundry emergency. Continue walking through office. Spot Trevor from marketing in a neon yellow tank top that says beast mode. His shoulders and arms are completely exposed. Muscle shirt barely covering his torso. Feel my eye twitch slightly, but remind myself this is progress. People are expressing themselves freely now. Reach my office and try to focus on morning emails. Keep getting distracted by the sound of flip-flops slapping against feet echoing through hallways. Hear loud conversations about weekend beach plans and gym routines. Atmosphere feels more like a college dormitory than a professional workplace. Around 10 a.m., decide to walk the floor and check on everyone's adjustment to the new policy. See Jake from IT wearing cargo shorts with at least 12 pockets and a sleeveless shirt. Spot Brandon from sales in mesh athletic shorts and sandals with socks. Notice Dominic from customer service in swim trunks and a tank top that says, "Sun's out, guns out." Starting to feel genuinely uncomfortable, but can't quite articulate why. Approach Theo's desk to casually chat. "Hey Theo, how are you finding the new dress code freedom?" He looks up from his computer, grinning widely. "Oh, Amelia, it's absolutely liberating. I feel so much more authentic now." Gestures to his outfit enthusiastically. "No more oppressive fabric constraints around my legs. These basketball shorts let me breathe." Try to maintain composure while his hairy legs are prominently displayed. "That's great, Theo." "Just remember, we still want to maintain some level of what?" He interrupts, leaning back in his chair. "I thought we were eliminating subjective appearance standards. Feel trapped by my own policy language." "Of course, you're absolutely right." Walk away feeling frustrated but unsure why. Head to marketing department to check on things there. Find Trevor doing actual push-ups next to his desk. Getting my workout in during break time, he announces loudly. Since we can wear athletic wear now, figured I might as well use it properly. Several other employees gather around cheering him on. Office environment becoming increasingly chaotic and unprofessional. Want to say something, but realize I literally removed all guidelines for appropriate workplace behavior. Retreat to my office feeling increasingly agitated. By lunchtime, nearly every male employee has embraced the most casual interpretation possible. Cafeteria looks like a beach volleyball tournament mixed with a gym. Men are comparing tan lines and discussing their morning surf sessions. Some are literally wearing board shorts and rash guards. Sit alone at my usual table trying to eat salad. Trevor approaches with his lunch tray. Tank top now slightly sweaty from his earlier workout. "Mind if I join you, Amelia?" Wanted to thank you personally for this amazing policy change. Reluctantly gestured to the chair across from me. "You know, I never realized how constrained I felt in button-down shirts." He continues, "This tank top lets me move freely, express my fitness lifestyle, really be myself at work." He flexes slightly while reaching for his sandwich. "Plus, it's so much more comfortable in this office heat." Try to eat while avoiding looking at his exposed shoulders and chest. "I'm glad you're comfortable, Trevor." "Comfortable? I'm liberated." This is exactly what workplace equality looks like. Feel growing irritation at having my own words used against me. Afternoon brings even more chaos. Conference room meetings now feature men in various states of athletic undress. Client call interrupted by the sound of flip-flops entering and leaving the room, trying to maintain professionalism while surrounded by exposed skin and casual wear. Finally, reach my breaking point around 300 p.m. Walk out to find Jake doing yoga stretches in the hallway wearing nothing but shorts and a tank top. Jake, what exactly are you doing? Afternoon meditation and stretching routine, he says without stopping his poses. Really helps with the stress of desk work since we can dress for comfort now. Figured I should optimize for wellness too. March over to Theo's desk where he somehow acquired an even more revealing tank top. Theo, I need to speak with you privately. He follows me to my office, flip-flops echoing loudly with each step. Close the door and try to collect my thoughts. Look, Theo, I think there might be some misunderstanding about the new policy. He sits down, man spreading widely in his basketball shorts. What kind of misunderstanding? I thought we were free to express ourselves authentically. Well, yes, but there's still an expectation of basic professionalism. According to who? I thought we eliminated subjective appearance standards. Feel my face getting hot with frustration. There's a difference between eliminating gendered requirements and completely abandoning workplace norms. But who decides what those norms are? He asks, leaning forward. Isn't that exactly the kind of arbitrary authority you were fighting against? Realize I'm completely trapped by my own rhetoric. Try a different approach. It's just that clients might have expectations about professional appearance, so we should conform to outdated client biases. That seems like stepping backward from progress, want to scream, but have no logical response. Dismiss Theo and immediately call emergency meeting with Trevor, Jake, Brandon, and Dominic. They file into conference room wearing their various tank tops, shorts, and flip-flops. Sound of rubber slapping against feet echoes around the room as they sit down. Gentlemen, I wanted to discuss how we're implementing the new dress code policy. Trevor raises his hand enthusiastically. Oh, Amelia, we've been talking about this. We're so grateful for this opportunity to reject toxic masculinity. What do you mean? I ask suspiciously. Jake jumps in excitedly. Well, traditional business attire really reinforced harmful stereotypes about how men should present themselves. These restrictive suits and ties were basically uniforms of oppression. I nod reluctantly, recognizing my own previous arguments. Brandon continues the thought. And athletic wear represents a healthier relationship with our bodies. No more hiding behind layers of formal clothing that disconnect us from our physical selves, Dominic adds. Plus, it's much more environmentally sustainable than dry cleaning dress shirts constantly. I feel increasingly cornered as they use progressive language to justify their behavior. But surely you understand that there's still an expectation of what? Trevor interrupts, looking like corporate drones, conforming to heteronormative presentation standards. The entire group nods in agreement. Jake speaks up again. We're finally free to reject those masculine performance expectations. No more pretending to be something we're not just to satisfy workplace conformity. Realize they're using every feminist argument I've ever made. Try one more desperate approach. What about productivity and focus in the workplace? Brandon laughs loudly. Are you suggesting that clothing affects our ability to do our jobs? That sounds pretty superficial and appearance-focused to me. Meeting dissolves into chaos as they continue enthusiastically discussing their liberation. Dismiss them feeling completely defeated and confused about my own feelings. Next morning brings even more extreme interpretations. Theo shows up in what appears to be board shorts and a mesh tank top. Trevor wearing compression shorts and a cutoff shirt that barely covers his midsection. Jake in athletic shorts that's so short they might actually be running briefs. Try to start my day normally, but immediately interrupted by commotion in main workspace. I investigate to find Brandon and Dominic having a loud conversation about their new authentic presentation. Dude, I feel so much more connected to my true self without all those fabric barriers, right? Why did we ever think we needed to hide our bodies in restrictive clothing? Other employees starting to stare and whisper. Female coworkers looking increasingly uncomfortable but afraid to say anything. Office environment becoming completely unprofessional. I corner Trevor near the printer. Trevor, I think we need to establish some basic guidelines about guidelines. He interrupts loudly, causing nearby employees to look over. I thought we were moving beyond arbitrary restrictions, but surely you can see that this is getting out of hand. He crosses his arms, emphasizing his exposed shoulders. Out of hand. According to what standard? Who gets to decide what's appropriate? I raise my voice slightly. There's still common sense about workplace environments. Common sense according to who? Traditional patriarchal business culture. Realize other employees are now openly watching our confrontation. Feel humiliated. As Trevor continues his argument, this sounds exactly like the kind of appearance-based discrimination you were fighting against. It just seems like you're only comfortable with liberation when you control how it looks. I storm back to my office, slamming the door. I spend next hour trying to figure out how to regain control of situation. Review original policy language and realize there are literally no restrictions I can enforce. Decide to try appealing to the group's sense of teamwork. Call another meeting for end of day. They arrive in even more revealing athletic wear than before. Theo appears to be wearing actual swim trunks and a tank top with armholes cut down to his waist. Look, everyone, I think we can find a middle ground here. Jake immediately shakes his head. Middle ground sounds like compromise. And compromise usually means the oppressed group gives up gains. We've finally achieved true equality and dress code freedom. I try to maintain calm tone, but the office environment has become disruptive and unprofessional. Dominic stands up dramatically. Unprofessional according to who, Amelia? His voice echoes through the conference room. Feel myself starting to lose composure. According to basic workplace standards. What standards? Trevor shouts, also standing. The ones you told us were oppressive and discriminatory. Brandon joins in loudly. You can't eliminate dress codes, then get mad when we actually embrace the freedom. Entire group now standing and raising their voices. We're just following your leadership on rejecting appearance-based workplace control. Feel my face burning with anger and embarrassment. This isn't what I meant, and you all know it. What did you mean then, Theo? He demurs. Liberation only on your terms. I completely lose my temper. You're all being deliberately obtuse and disruptive. I immediately regret the outburst as they exchanged knowing looks. Jake smirks. So when we exercise the freedom you gave us, we're being disruptive. But when you wanted to change the dress code, that was progress. Realize I've been completely outmaneuvered. Try to salvage some authority. Fine, but I'm going to recommend some basic guidelines to management. Trevor laughs openly. What are you going to tell them? That equality only works when people use it the way you want. I storm out of meeting feeling utterly humiliated. Can't believe these men have turned my progressive policy against me so effectively. Next few days become increasingly chaotic. Men start organizing Authentic Expression Fridays, where they wear even more revealing athletic wear. Theo shows up in what appears to be a wrestling singlet and flip-flops. Trevor wearing compression shorts and a shirt that's basically just sleeves attached to a collar. Female employees begin approaching me with concerns. Sarah from accounting pulls me aside. Amelia, this is getting really uncomfortable for everyone. I can't focus on work when Dominic is doing jumping jacks next to my desk in tiny shorts. I try to explain the importance of workplace equality. But Sarah, we can't judge people based on their clothing choices. That's exactly the kind of discrimination we were fighting against. She looks at me like I've lost my mind. There's a difference between equality and whatever this has become. Week 2 of the new policy brings even more extreme behavior. Jake starts a body-positive lunch club where men discuss their fitness routines while flexing. Brandon begins doing yoga poses during breaks, wearing increasingly minimal athletic wear. Dominic starts taking fresh air breaks shirtless on the office balcony. Finally, get called into meeting with upper management, sitting across from 3 executives in traditional business attire. Feel immediately self-conscious about the policy I fought so hard to implement. Amelia, we've been getting some concerns about the new dress code policy. I try to defend my position. What kind of concerns? We've eliminated discriminatory appearance standards. Well, apparently several male employees are wearing what can only be described as beachwear to client meetings. Feel my stomach drop. They're expressing themselves authentically within the parameters of workplace freedom. Executive raises eyebrow. Theo attended the Henderson contract meeting wearing board shorts and a tank top. The client specifically asked if we were having some kind of casual Friday event. I realize the full scope of how this has backfired. I can speak to the employees about appropriate interpretation of the policy based on the policy language. What exactly would you tell them is inappropriate? I have no answer, because the policy literally eliminates all appearance standards. Meeting ends with directive to find a solution. Walk back to my office feeling completely defeated. Pass Theo in hallway wearing what appears to be athletic briefs and a mesh tank top. He waves cheerfully. Great day for authentic expression, Amelia. Call emergency meeting with all the men involved. They arrive looking like they're heading to a beach volleyball tournament. Trevor actually brought a towel and is wearing board shorts with a rash guard. Gentlemen, we need to discuss how this policy is being interpreted. Jake immediately interrupts. Are you saying we're interpreting our freedom incorrectly? No, but management has expressed concerns about client perceptions. Brandon stands up dramatically. So now we're back to conforming to other people's expectations. Dominic joins in. What happened to authentic self-expression? Theo adds loudly. This sounds like backsliding into oppressive appearance standards. Feel myself getting hysterical. You're all doing this on purpose. Doing what? Trevor shouts back. Exercising the freedom you gave us. I completely lose control of the meeting. You know exactly what you're doing, and it's sabotaging everything. Jake grins widely. We're following your leadership on rejecting workplace appearance discrimination. If that's sabotaging something, maybe the problem isn't with our interpretation. I realize I'm trapped in a corner of my own making. These men have used every single argument I've ever made about workplace freedom. They have turned my progressive policy into a weapon against me. Final straw comes the following Monday. I arrive at office to find Theo, Trevor, Jake, Brandon, and Dominic have coordinated their outfits. All wearing matching neon athletic wear that's barely workplace appropriate, holding a sign that says AA Expression Appreciation Day. I march over to confront them. What is this supposed to be? Theo grins. We're celebrating the freedom you gave us to reject oppressive dress standards, Trevor adds. This is what workplace liberation actually looks like. Other employees gathering around to watch feel completely humiliated as the men continue their coordinated demonstration. Jake speaks loud enough for everyone to hear. We wanted to show our appreciation for Amelia's progressive leadership. She taught us that appearance-based workplace rules are discriminatory. Realize the entire office is watching me lose control. Try to maintain some dignity. This isn't what the policy was intended for. Brandon laughs openly. Who are you to decide how other people should interpret their freedom? Isn't that exactly the kind of authority you were fighting against? I completely break down. I can't deal with this anymore. I run to my office and slam door. Hear the men outside continuing their celebration of authentic expression. Spend rest of day hiding in office. Receive email from management requesting immediate revision of dress code policy. I realize I have to completely reverse the progressive change I fought so hard to implement. Draft new policy with specific guidelines about appropriate workplace attire, include restrictions on athletic wear, beachwear, and overly revealing clothing. Basically recreating the oppressive dress code I originally eliminated. Send policy to management for approval. Get response that they're implementing it immediately due to client concerns. Have to send company-wide email announcing return to traditional dress standards. Next morning, all the men show up in perfect business attire. Theo wearing crisp dress shirt and tie. Trevor in immaculate suit with polished shoes. Jake, Brandon, and Dominic all perfectly professional. They greet me with exaggerated politeness. Good morning, Amelia. Thank you for helping us understand appropriate workplace presentation. We really learned a lot about the importance of professional standards. Realize they're mocking me while appearing completely compliant. I try to avoid them for rest of week, but keep overhearing their conversations about learning experiences and workplace equality. Jake loudly discussing how some people can't handle the consequences of their own policies. Trevor explaining to others how true equality means everyone follows the same rules. Finally, understand that I've been completely outplayed. These men took my progressive dress code elimination and used it to prove their point about my hypocrisy. They showed that I wanted workplace freedom only when it benefited my specific vision. When men used the same freedom in ways I didn't like, I immediately wanted restrictions back. Sit in my office, realizing how thoroughly they have exposed my double standards, wanted to eliminate oppressive dress codes, but only when the results matched my expectations. The moment men interpreted the freedom differently than I intended, I became the oppressor. Later in the week, I overhear Theo talking to new employee. Oh, Amelia, she's the one who eliminated our dress code to fight oppression, then immediately brought it back when she didn't like how we used our freedom. She really taught us a lot about authentic commitment to equality. Realize my reputation in office is permanently damaged, known as the person who talks about liberation but can't handle actual freedom. The men successfully proved their point about my insufferable attitudes and hypocrisy. Policy remains in place with traditional dress standards. My progressive victory became a cautionary tale about unintended consequences. Every time someone mentions dress codes, people remember how my equality initiative backfired spectacularly. Men continue to be perfectly professional in their required business attire, but occasionally I catch them smirking when I walk by. I know they're remembering how easily they turned own arguments against me. Learn that true equality means accepting outcomes even when they're not what you expected. Discover that fighting oppression requires more than just changing rules to benefit yourself. Most importantly, I realize that workplace freedom has to work for everyone, not just the people whose interpretation you approve of. I still work in same office, but with significantly less credibility. Men proved their point about my hypocrisy without ever breaking any rules or being inappropriate. They simply took my progressive policy to its logical conclusion and watched me panic when I couldn't control the results. Dress code policy now includes specific language about maintaining professional workplace environment, essentially the same oppressive standards I originally fought to eliminate. Except now everyone knows I only supported freedom when it looked the way I wanted it to look. If this confession kept you hooked, make sure to subscribe, like, and share. We share powerful true stories every day that explore the complex realities of life.